In the last video, good morning. In the last video I made about Roaring Spring, I was at the blackboard and I was drawing lines and putting names down and stuff of places I've taken you and places I intend to still go. And why I'm doing this is because I'm using examples of things I've seen in my travels, specifically now in the Alps, that I think can be applied to Roaring Spring. Well, I'm going to call this video Roaring Spring, the Alps, and the Romantics. The Romantics. I think I really need to stop for a little bit and explain about Romanticism. And I've realized that I had done that when I was teaching in public school, and then after I finished, I taught it once again. I did a playlist called Romanticism, which was basically what I'm going to be just referring to right now. But I laid it out at a level that I taught to 8th graders. But I think you have to have some understanding of Romanticism to understand why Roaring Spring has such a potential in a direction other than some new industry, whether it be a data center or some new kind of a factory. I don't know what it's going to be, but it has other potential. And I basically have been talking about its beauty, the beauty of Roaring Spring, and more. As I'm going through these Alpine towns and even some cities, a city I'm going to mention, where I think lessons can be learned. Because they are so romantic, the ones that I'm referring to. But Roaring Spring also has such an appeal in a romantic sense. Switzerland really got its wealth. It's thought of correctly as a wealthy country. But it wasn't always like that. It was poor for quite a while. It was mountainous. You know, who would want to go there? Dangerous, cold, uncomfortable? Why would you want to go up to mountains? Dirty, peasants? Until Romanticism came along. But then with Romanticism, all of that got such an appeal that people began to flock to Switzerland to have that romantic experience, especially the British. With the British Industrial Revolution, there were a lot of English people who were getting quite a bit of wealth, and they wanted a vacation, and they started to head to the Alps because the Alps had just what the Romantics idealized: simplicity, nature, dramatic nature, mountains, crags, waterfalls, freedom. Well, I go through that list. Simplicity is pretty critical, but I go through that list and I explain a good bit in that playlist, which I recommend. The videos are short, and I talk pretty fast, and I go through that, and you can have a chance to understand part of your own personality when you get to the end of it, because everybody practically in the whole world is influenced by Romanticism, and I try to explain that now. Well, in like the Fromstock, Brunnen, Lucerne, places that we're heading here, I'm going to refer to the romantic appeal that they had. And Roaring Spring, I maintain, especially now that the paper mill has been cleaned up, that site has been cleaned out, Roaring Spring has been revealed to be an extremely romantic setting by nature. And I've said that several times. So Romanticism, this sort of almost a disease that swept the world, where people were turning their backs on industrialization of the Industrial Revolution. They had begun to decide, wait a minute, this isn't making the world more beautiful or better. They had real doubts about industrialization. And that's one of the things that brought on Romanticism. Well, I don't know if there's a point in going into that right now, but I'm just suggesting to you that I'll give you the link, the playlist. It's called Romanticism. I was about 12 years younger when I presented that, and I think it does a pretty thorough job. Now you might a good job of presenting it briefly. What I'm talking about with romanticism. Now you might think, why would I want to go back to school? You know, you were an English teacher. Why would I want to go back to a boring English class? Well, I think you should. Bye for now.